Now we're going to talk about mortgage notes payable. This is a particularly good one for most of you, unless you happen to be independently wealthy, might want to be aware of. Because most of us end up with mortgages at one time or another. The way mortgages are set up, it also works for car loans and any other sort of installment type payments. Okay, so what's a mortgage? It's just a note payable, but it's secured by some piece of real property. Real property, house, building of some sort, land. And what it means is that if you don't pay the note, the bank can take your house. Or if you don't pay the note, they can come get the condo or whatever. And so there are a lot of things that we are not going to cover here that you have to be aware of as you're going in to get a mortgage. One is that there sometimes you can use points to, it's a transaction fee that is paid up front to possibly reduce the interest rate on the note. And if you can set something like this up, you can figure out if that's worthwhile or not, or how worthwhile it is. I'm not going to get into doing those. They're a little bit more advanced calculations than we want to get into here. You also have the option of doing a fixed rate mortgage or a variable rate mortgage. With a fixed rate mortgage, you may have to pay a little bit higher interest rate up front, but that's going to be the interest rate that you have. And so if the interest rates happen to go up, you are locked in at, say, a 6% mortgage, and if the interest rates go up to 11% or something, you're still just going to be paying 6%. With a variable rate mortgage, you would go from 6% to 11%, and your payments and everything would go up. So we made that work for us back when we bought one of our first houses, because we locked in an interest rate of about 6%. And it was right before all of the oil embargo and inflation. It was, during the 70s. Long story short, the interest rates went up to close to 20%, and we were paying 6% because we had locked in a fixed rate. The bank was calling us up going, "Oh, wouldn't you like to refinance?" And we just go, "No." So, yeah. So you want to be aware of the difference between a fixed rate and a variable rate mortgage. Okay, so this is a, let's see if there's anything else from the lenders will really they'll push a variable rate mortgage because that way you bear all the risk and not them. So, okay. So how do we set this up? I'm going to set up, this is a 20-year mortgage, 6% for $100,000. And we've got a monthly payment of $716.43. And I did not write the whole thing out. It's all sort of done out on Excel for you in the notes. So I would ask you to refer to that if you want to see more of this. Okay, so how do we figure it out? You start off with your principal balance of $100,000. We know that the monthly payment is going to be this. We have the set amount on that, and so that if you're doing Excel, you can put it in once and then copy and paste it down all the columns as far as you want to go. Okay, so the interest expense, this is going to be how we've been calculating them on notes. You're going to take, except for one little item, we're going to take the 6% and divide it by 12 to get the monthly interest on each payment. So this is going to be 6% divided by 12 because they're monthly payments, and the 6% is an annual interest rate. So we're going to go, here we would be going, we would be going 100,000, and we'd be going times 0.06, but divided by 12, okay? And that would give us the amount of interest on that note, okay? For that first payment. Okay, so this is the total payment. Of that payment, $500 was interest. The rest is going towards reducing the principal. Okay, the balance owed. So now we go 100,000 less what we just paid off. Oh look, we only owe $99,783. Cool. And after the next payment, we would be taking the $99,783.57 times 6% divided by 12. That's the interest on the second payment. and so forth all the way down. All right, so what I want you to do, you've borrowed $100,000 for 20 years, and I want you to just guess how much interest you think you're going to pay on that. I'll give you, just take, you can pause this or, take a minute. But in class I usually take a few minutes and let people come up with, I think it would be like 15,000. Or maybe I could just, kind of do that. Oh, no, I think it would be 40,000. All right, well, why don't we just, we can go right down to the bottom of the first section here on Excel, the bottom of this first schedule. And your total interest for 20 years for borrowing $100,000, it's going to come out to $71,943.69. That's the interest that you're going to be paying over 20 years. Do you think that's a good idea? Probably not if you can help it. So that's why I like to just show you what's involved, because interest is something you want to have working for you, not against you. And when you're paying out that much interest, it can be working against you. Unless you can be using the money to earn more interest or more benefit elsewhere. I'd have to throw that in. Okay. In other words, when we had our 6% mortgage, that was very worthwhile because we could be, if we had any money, which we didn't, we could have been investing it and earning 20%. Okay, then it's good. But that's beyond the scope of what we're doing here. Okay, so now, just in terms of setting up a loan with a bank or with a lender, you want to make sure that you have the option to make additional payments if you happen to have extra money, or to maybe, instead of paying $716.43, maybe you figure out your finances. You actually could pay $1,000 a month instead. So if you can pay a little bit extra on it every month, what would happen there? And if you scroll down the second section on Excel there, and you'll see where it goes from goes to blue, I think. That's all the payments that you would not have to make because you would have had it paid off that much sooner. So basically, if you just paid, a little less than $300 more a month, if you could do that, in other words, pay $1,000 instead of the $716, you could have it paid off in 12 and a half years, okay, instead of 20 years, and your total interest would only be $38,790.93. That would be your total interest instead of that. Okay? Then you can do things like, when we had a mortgage on one of our last houses, I was working, running a construction company, and every once in a while we just get a big bonus and we just take it and throw it right at the mortgage. So what if you got a one-time bonus of $10,000, say at the end of year 3, and you could just put that right towards your mortgage? What impact would that have? And you can scroll down again and you can see where it turns to blue. And in this case it turns to blue, it's paid off at about 17 years. So you cut 3 years off it and your total interest would just be $56,586.57. So you've saved $20,000 in interest just by, paying off a little bit, using your bonus to pay off a mortgage. So before you get into borrowing money, you can set up. You can use actually what I've given you here. You can go into the block and see what formulas there are. And you can set this up for your proposed interest rates, for your proposed amounts of the loan, just so you know what you're getting into. Okay, so that's your mortgage notes payable.